Hello again there folks. So I just happened to be at my old walking spot where I used to do those videos where I would whip out the phone and like give a hot take or something as I was going around and I was something on my mind. And a lot of people seem to have missed that and they were like, well, what happened to them videos? Or nice and nice and cozy and all that. And that's fair enough, you know. And I was wandering around because I saw this thing on social media this morning on like two videos side by side, because one of the things I just find fascinating is the cognitive dissonance of what's going on. So on the day that I'm recording this, there was some big new report got released, and it was about how we don't need to worry, the Southport riots and all of that was nothing to do with two-tier policing. It was all about Russian bots. It was nothing to do with two-tier care. There was nothing anti-white about it. It was just people misusing social media. And the good news is there's going to be like yet another police task force created to like sort of clamp down on that. It was just racists. It was just morons being misled by Russian bots and malignant social media influencers from somewhere else in the world. And in the end, they just didn't have anything to complain about. I mean, my assumption was that everybody was absolutely incandescently angry about the fact that a foreign import butchered 3 young English girls in broad daylight at a dance school. I thought that was enough. I thought that it is understood that makes people angry in a sane world, that people get angry about those kinds of things, and the actual reason for them kicking off is well understood. But no, people don't have any agency. People just I don't know what they expect the reaction to something like that to be. Because they've told themselves all these lies, of course, that it shouldn't make any difference. But what was fascinating to me was that they had this fella on who was also a foreigner who was talking about this with Richard Madeley. Remember him? Whatever happened to Judy? I mean, so Richard Madeley's still there. He's still got a permatan. He's still on the telly. They've bumped Judy off and he's on Good Morning UK or whatever it's called. And he's doing this sort of interview with this fella who's everything's okay. We've got this new report. We knew what happened. Mafia investigates mafia and concludes that mafia is innocent. But then on my Twitter feed, like I looked at it and it must have hit the algorithm or something. And then like a second after that, there was another video popped up from the same program on the same sofa with the same presenters. But this time it was Maggie Oliver was launching an inquiry, or she was speaking about the grooming gangs. And I thought, and so this time around, her narrative, her story was that, well, more needs to be done to protect all of these English girls who are, you know, they're being horribly abused by these immigrant gangs, and it's being covered up by the system, which is to say, the system is anti-white. That's why they're covering it up. And so, what all of this adds up to is just this like comically retarded intellectual and cultural life of the country, because none of it makes sense. None of it can be formulated into a coherent narrative that the normies and the Richard Madeley fans can wrap their heads around, because you get two diametrically opposed opinions on something which is very important, and there's no sort of conclusion to it. I mean, we know that, for example, you're kind of supposed to go along with the one that says, well, here's the official report, trust the experts. The experts have decided there was not much to see there, and all of the idiots just got manipulated, and they didn't even have a right to be angry, because it's illegitimate, because he was a Welsh choir boy, and the system isn't anti-white, and all the rest of it. Then you've got somebody else who comes on the same programme, on the same settee, probably with the same coffee cup, same presenter, same permatan on Madeley, and it's like, yeah, there's this big cover-up because the system's anti-white. And I think it's like, what I want to say about it is like all of this is retarded because pretty much everybody involved is retarded. I think Richard Madeley is a retard. I think the people who put that report together is a retard. And I think the police, when you see them, they don't come across as these kind of well-read, worldly men. They come across like complete imbeciles and morons with the IQ of about 90. The politicians are incompetent and stupid. You never get the impression from anybody in any position of authority that they've read like a book or even like a long form kind of incel, theory cell brained podcast or anything. They've never explored any kind of ideas. There's no inner life, inner monologue. And so what they come out with is stupid. And I think this adds to the kind of dystopian nature of the UK. It's this kind of like rule by retard, rule by moron, where it leaves you kind of stupefied. So when you object, when the policeman rocks up at your market stall and you've just told somebody like speak English, I can't understand what you're saying. We're in England, speak English. And then the policeman comes along and he says, yeah, that's a hate speech offence that you've just done there by telling somebody to speak England. In England, you can't do that anymore. I don't believe the policeman has any kind of inner conflict with that. I don't think he kind of can process the ethical dilemma of what it is he's engaged with. I don't think he's kind of doing sort of juggling the balls of classic liberalism and John Stuart Mill or anything like this. He's not. He doesn't. He can't. He's just stupid. In the same way that like. And so what this does is leave you on the outside of that, of his stupidity. And people are wandering around, normal people, I think. And the thing is it me? Like normies, genuine normies, like my parents and everything. And everybody's kind of like, is it just me? Or is this just wrong? What do I not understand here? How is it, like, how am I supposed to process that an immigrant gouges the eyes out of an old man and he isn't just being hanged and nothing seems to happen? Why is it, for example, that all of these foreigners are coming in and there's this kind of rising tide of barbarism and sadistic violence that we're seeing everywhere? Why is it that like the bin bags in Birmingham are stacked sky high, and it just so happens to be like an area full of foreigners? Notice that I've got to be careful about what I'm saying, because the retards and the morons who enforce the laws, they wouldn't understand the nuance of if I said something, or it doesn't matter that it's truthful. And so you get this kind of disconnect where you're thinking, how can this, like, how can it all be so retarded? How can it be all so stupid? And is it me? Am I the one that doesn't get this? Am I the one that can't understand why there's just like thousands and thousands of violent foreigners coming in, and this is like was not supposed to notice? And if you do notice, like, you're in the wrong. And I think it gives you this kind of anxiety. It's part of the kind of Kafkaesque, like UK. Part of the UK aesthetic is like the IQ of like 70 in a position of power. Part of the mental drive behind it all, part of its dystopian nature, is that normal people and even the normies are more intelligent and like they've got more of an internal monologue than actual people in positions of authority. When you that term, what is it, bio-Leninism, where like all the like the outcasts and the weirdos get elevated into positions of power, yeah, that'll be like the progressive stack and the minorities and the sexual things and all of that. But it's also as if like the system, it's just regardless of race and that, it's just like morons, you know, absolute morons. You know, a few weeks ago there was a thing where there was like, they were going to give white people like longer prison sentences, and like it got picked up on, it got blew up, and they backtracked on it. Did no, like, where in the system was the safeguard against that? Why was there nobody in a meeting who was like, this is going to look really bad? You know, we're already being accused of being like anti-white and two-tier and all of the rest of it. Now, what, we're going to formalise that and put it into law? Look, even if you agree with the policy, let's be a little bit smarter about it. Let's dial it back a bit. Let's keep it as an informal thing, because it already happens anyway. It's just not official. Let's just do it like that. Well, why do we have to, like... And nothing like that seems to have happened. It was just like, yeah, we're too imbecilic and too stupid to understand, like, this is gonna look disastrous. So that comes out. All of that comes out, and then people are once again like, it gets that, in that particular case it got dialed back, but it's at some quango, so it can't be fully, you can't just get rid of the quango. Everybody's walking around just stupefied, and now today you get this report out saying don't worry about it, there's nothing going on. And all of this, I think, adds to the anxiety and that kind of feeling in the pit of normal people's stomach. I've actually been away. I haven't really been online that much recently. I've had a lot going on, so I've been talking to a lot of people in the real world, and everybody's like this, you know. And I think now that I'm back to my old spot, we're doing an old-fashioned video again. You know, I wanted to just kind of say, like, it isn't you, and you can send this to your friends and your family. It's not you. It's this hellish system that we're under. And it sounds a bit corny and it sounds a bit cheesy, but like, it's not you, it's not your friends, you're not the problem. It's this system is. It's this managerial. You know, I've spoken about it for years. This is the system. So, you know, hang in there. We've got each other, and remember that, because in these times it's probably going to get worse. Tribalism will see you through. You know. Stick to your own and stay sane, because this system's going to start and drive people mad. It already has. But I just wanted to sort of drop in with some random thoughts going through my head as I'm wandering around on this lovely old walk that I like to do. Take care out there, folks, and I'll catch you later.